Hello. There we are. So today I would like to work on a lily top. So this is a crochet pattern from Passionate Goods, aka Passionate Kelsey on YouTube. It is a very basic crop top pattern, and I am going to be using Karen cotton cakes. Now, since this is a paid pattern, I can't actually show you the pattern itself. This is her design that she put out quite a while ago, and it is not one that I've done yet. I've done the lily top, and what else have I done? I guess I've only done the lily top, and this one is actually the Valerie top. I think I put in my description that it was a lily, but this is actually a Valerie top. And this is just a simple crop top. It is a, it can be modified. She has it for, I think, a small to a double X. Let me look here. Yep. Well, extra small to a double X. And it is, like I said, it's her pattern. It's a simple crochet pattern. I've already done my basic chain. Now, what she doesn't tell you to do in this pattern is to crochet in the back loops. And so I'm going to do an extra row where I'm going to crochet into the back loops. Now, what that's going to do is it is going to give me a nice edge on the bottom that I can crochet into. If I need to make it larger, or if I want to add fringe, or, you know, there's a lot of reasons to crochet around the bottom. And so I'm going to do a real quick single crochet. I'm not going to say edging because that's not really it is. It's just a row. And I'm going into the back loops because then you have a nice, ooh, there we go. You've got a nice edge on this side, but you've also got a nice edge on this side. If you just go into the stitch normally when you're making a chain, what happens is that your bottom, this bottom edge is not as nice and neat. It's not as easy to crochet into. Plus, you'll get holes to some extent if you crochet into it. I am using Karen cotton cakes today. I found some more of these, and I love Karen cotton cakes. I typically, when I'm completely out, I do typically order from Michael's, from the pro side of Michael's, and I get a large box of them. I think they come in a box of 18, but don't quote me on that. That might have changed. However, that box lasts me for quite a while, and well, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm doing double-stranded items, which sometimes I do, it's not going to last as long as if I'm doing like this, a single strand. However, I like ordering this type of yarn in bulk. And the main reason is that it's one of my favorites to use for like garments, and I've started using it for accessories as well. And it has been one of my favorite yarns for several years now. I do not know what that particular comment means, but okay. I've started doing crochets with me because I like talking to folks while I'm crocheting. It's like you have someone with you while you're working. I am just going to ignore one of those comments. I think it's meant to be negative, and that's fine. You have your opinion, and frankly, you're right. I am definitely overweight. Oh, yes. I love making toilet paper holders. I made a Santa Claus one for my grandma years ago, and we still have it, and we still use it. We call it our emergency toilet paper. So it will hopefully be fairly quiet. I think the dogs and mom went for a drive. It is somebody's birthday, so they're out wishing them happy birthday. I am making, I put it in the description wrong. It's not a lily top, it's a Valerie top, and so this is what it's going to look like. I am making the largest size, which is, oh, on here it says double X. However, I am actually using a larger hook than what is called for. So it is going to come out closer to it. It's actually going to be a 3X rather than a 2X. And that is one of the simplest ways to change kind of a size that you're getting out of your product, is to just change your hook size, larger or smaller. If you go smaller, you're going to have a smaller piece. If you go larger, it'll be larger. Just remember that if you're going with a larger hook, typically it is going to use more yarn than what they're calling for. Yes, I did. This one doesn't have a pattern. I just came up with it. And I used Lion brand mandala. It was a gift for Christmas. Hello. And when I saw it, I had an idea that I wanted to make a top out of it. And I had just enough yarn to make my top. Thank you for coming and watching my live. Hit the like button. If you like crochet content, go ahead and subscribe. I do lives on Thursdays and on Saturdays, and then I also put out a weekly video on Wednesdays. Oftentimes my Wednesday video is going to be like my weekly makes. What did I make that week? And last week I made a ditto, which is a fairly large Pokemon. and it came out very large because I used a little bit larger blanket yarn. However, the more I look at it, the more I like it. So I am now getting into the actual pattern. This is a very easy pattern because basically what you're using are chain stitches and double crochets, and then double crochet 2 together. You start at the bottom of the bottom of it, and you work up. I'm using a 5.5 millimeter hook on this particular one. Oh, thank you, people. I hope you have a great day. So, like I said, this is a really good pattern, and it is actually a good pattern, not for a beginner, because you do need to know how to double crochet, and you need to know how to do a decrease, and you need to know how to count your stitches. But other than that, once you kind of have that stuff down, it's a very good pattern for people that aren't brand new but know the stitches. It's a great pattern, especially if you want to make something for yourself to wear or for someone else. Now she makes her tops out of Lily's sugar and cream, I believe, or peaches and cream, or yeah. It's 100% cotton. However, it will shrink. I like using cotton like that for market bags. However, I do not particularly like it against my skin, so I don't make the tops out of that if I plan on turning them into like a shirt, or if I'm really planning on selling them, because if it were me, I want something that's soft and comfortable that you can wash and dry, and you don't have to worry about it shrinking or really changing shape on you, and something that really doesn't wrinkle much. This particular yarn is Karen Cotton Cakes, and it is a cotton acrylic blend. And it is really an awesome thing. Well, hello, Charlene. How are you doing today? I am doing awesome. I finally have enough sleep on board, so I don't, completely look like a raccoon today. Oh, good, good. The nice thing about making your own clothes is that you can change how do I say this? You can choose to follow the pattern 100%, or you can add, or you can subtract. You can basically put in whatever you want. I'm actually making a Valerie top. Let me find the picture here. Okay. So here's the picture. And because I know using the hook size that I'm using and the yarn that I'm using, I'm actually going to be getting a top that's a 3X top. So to get that, since I'm using such a large hook, I'm actually using the extra small pattern, but with my tension and this hook, it's going to come out a 3X, which is, once you kind of know what your tension is and you know what kind of like size range you get when you use a specific hook, you can modify pretty much any pattern or stitch pattern to make yourself clothing, whether it's a shirt, a sweater, a crop top, or you're making yourself pants or shorts. And a similar concept applies. Oh, thank you, Mama Swift, for subscribing. A similar thing applies when you're knitting. However, when you're knitting, it's a little bit different. It's a similar idea. You do a gauge swatch to figure out what size of hook you want to use for the pattern. I am making the Valerie top. Oh, I think I already answered that. One of the nice things about using the Caron cotton cakes, especially if you get them in a variegated colorway, what's going to happen is the color changes on its own. So then you don't have to do any color changes, which is something that I really like. I love color changes without actually having to cut your yarn. And so I do use, when I'm making clothing, oftentimes, although not always, but oftentimes, I will make, oh, hello, make clothing out of a variegated colorway. And the reason that I do that is because you get those color changes. And oftentimes, especially if you're using Caron cotton cakes, it's almost seamless. Now, you can get some bleed over in the yarn where you'll get some splotchiness, which is part of variegation. And I'm just going to say, I don't really worry about that. I know some people do. Some people will use the Caron cotton cakes, but or other variegated yarns, but then they color control. Color control is not my favorite thing. Sometimes I'll do it, but it's not, it kind of defeats the point for me of using a variegated yarn. Because my whole thing is, if I'm using a variegated yarn, it's doing the colorway changes for me, so I don't have to cut my yarn and tie on new yarn and sew in a bunch of ends. In a top like this, I'm going to have just a couple of ends to sew in. I wanted to say hi to all the new people that are here. My name is Jamie, and this is Hot Dog Crochet. I do lives on Thursdays and on Saturdays, and then I release a video on Wednesdays. Hello, Eileen. No, that's Ellen. I apologize. I forgot what I was going to say. I apologize. Oh, if you don't mind hitting the like button, and if you like crochet content, please subscribe. This Saturday, I plan on doing my live outside. I have I want to say a power generator, but that's not really what it is. I have a power bank that I'm going to use, so hopefully this time I don't have any issues, because last time I tried to go live outside, I had issues. Oh, thank you so much, Ellen. I'm sorry, I didn't see where that popped up, but thank you. But last time I had issues trying to do my live. The computer actually kicked off, and I don't know why, because it was plugged in, but I don't know. It just was not willing to play ball with me last time. So I'm hoping that I have all of the right equipment that I need to be able to go live outside and it not turn off on me. We'll be out front this Saturday, so it may be kind of noisy. My plan is to go live, like I said, on Saturday. I'm not exactly sure what time I'm going to start. 100% I will start by 1 o'clock. However, I may actually start earlier because we'll be out front working and hopefully selling some items. Okay. So now we're going to start our decreases. Like I said, we're starting at the bottom of the top, and as we work our decreases, it's going to make that triangular shape. So, like I said, I like to make my own clothing, and this is one of the reasons why, is because it works up so quickly. Now, because I'm using the size of hook that I'm using, this is a top that you would want to wear a like a something underneath, because if you don't, everything's going to be showing. And you know, if that's what you're comfortable with, awesome, roll with that. But for me, I have a little bit more, I'm older, and so I have more feelings about covering up certain things. Which, if you don't, that's cool. Everybody's welcome. You know, we're all here to share and hopefully to grow a little bit. So in my mind, everybody's welcome. If you noticed, I do not censor people's comments. Ooh, awesome. I have seen those online, and those are interesting. I was thinking about maybe making some of the bouquet coasters. I have a sale that we're going to that's planting and gardening related, because it's a plant show. And so I was thinking those might be something nice to take. But I feel like everybody should have a voice. Even if I don't necessarily agree with you, or you don't agree with me, that's okay. It's, you know, a healthy dialogue. And I think that that's something that we all need. If you can hear that, I apologize. Apparently Humphreys didn't go on the ride, so he is outside barking. But at least he's in the backyard barking, so hopefully it won't be as loud. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I will have someone with me on, well, at least one person, maybe a couple people with me on Saturday, helping me. So I don't know if they'll feel comfortable being on the live or not. Oh, okay, awesome. I'll have to look for that. Dun, dun, dun. But if they're comfortable being on the live, they'll be on the live. If not, then I'm not going to put them on the live. And the reason for that is I want them to be comfortable, because I want and need their help, you know, when they can. I don't want to be pushy about it. And so if they don't want to be on the live, that's awesome. If they want to be, that's awesome too. I'm just glad that we call them the great grands, and that's because they're my grandmother's great grandchildren. And I'm just happy that they're going to be around this weekend. Now, what did I do with that? There it is. That way we get to see them and say hello. I haven't gotten to see them for a while. And Grandma was real pushy about making them come over so that she could see them. And I don't want to be like that. I love them, and I want them to know that I love them, but I'm not going to be pushy like Grandma was, because that's a lot of pressure on a kid. And I think that pressure makes people feel uncomfortable and want to say no, but feel uncomfortable about saying no. And I want the people and the kiddos that are helping me and with me, I want them to feel comfortable. Okay, bye, Ellen. Have a good day. But I'm also excited because I have a ton of items that I'm going to put out for sale on Saturday. I will not be selling like my plant-related items, because those I'm saving for our plant sale, which is at the end of May. And we're going to, I'm going to try and make some African violets, because that's what my mom sells. Well, that, and she sells holiday cactuses and aloe vera. But the biggest thing that she sells are the African violets. She propagates them from leaves and just runs with it. And she is such an amazing gardener. It's not funny. So, yeah. I get to reap the benefits, even though I am not one that enjoys gardening. I get to reap the benefits of the flowers and just the greenery. It's pretty awesome. And our peonies are up. I bought a pattern to crochet some peonies because that's my favorite flower. I have not actually worked that pattern up yet, but I will be working that pattern up. If nothing else, just for myself. So, now on this round, we start the, this is going to be the internal V that's inverted, so the point's at the bottom and then it widens as it goes up, which is the opposite of the top because the top starts wide and then it narrows as it goes up. And the whole time that we're working on this, we're decreasing all the way up. So I love to crochet, I love to knit, but right now crochet is really what I'm concentrating on. I got my banner for the table finally. I was thinking that it wouldn't come in on time and I wouldn't have it for Saturday, but I'm going to have it for Saturday. So that way I can show you guys what it looks like. You have to see it completely unfolded and open and ready to go. Otherwise, I would show you guys right now, but it has to be, well, I think that to see it, it needs to be completely open because it's just my logo. But I was very surprised that that came in today. I was going to use my business cards on my I was going to use my business cards as my price tags. And on my higher items, I will do that. But on the smaller items that don't cost as much, I got myself tags. Actually, I got a lot of these. They're basically brown. Jamie. They're brown cardstock. And it came with twine to like tie them on. I don't think that I'm going to use the twine. I think that I'm probably going to end up using stitch markers to attach it to the project so it's easy to remove. Just because I want it to be easy for kids or adults to take them off. And then I don't have to order my business cards anywhere as quickly. And I am going to put the, whatchamacallit? I am going to put my, I have stickers with like my logo, and then it also, hello, they also have a QR code that takes you to my link tree. That way you can connect with me, and yeah. So that'll be on the front, and then on the back will be the price. That way folks, you know what everything costs without having to necessarily read a sign. They can, they'll be able to see the price tags easily. They won't have to ask me if they don't want to interact with me. That's okay. I totally get that. So there's the next part of the internal mesh. And like I said, this works up fairly quickly. I think most people, if they weren't yammering and stammering like me, could probably get this top done in, you know, maybe 2 hours. I'd be able to work it up a little bit quicker if I was not trying to talk to folks, because talking takes up quite a few of my brain cells. If you've not seen my previous lives, I have a live where I crocheted a mallard. I have a live where I crocheted Tilly the turtles, which are small turtles, perfect market makes, and stash busters. They're awesome. They're just the right size. And the mallards are nice, but they do take longer to crochet. And I got I'm doing a lot of patterns right now out of the mini amigurumi, No So Mini Amigurumi book by Jenna I think it's, hold on a minute because I have it right here. Jenna Tattoo. Now she is Crochet by Jenna on YouTube and I think on Instagram. She does have some free patterns. She also has paid patterns. That's her book that came out earlier this year. And they're really good patterns. They're no-sew. Let me see here. And I really like working those ones up. Hello. I really like this pattern because technically you have 21 rows to work up and then you're done. And so realistically, this is a fairly quick pattern. I think that it's a good market make if you have a certain... Well, hello, Tammy. Thank you very much for doing that. I see that you probably have a channel. So if you have a channel, I do like to go back and try and subscribe to you guys, but it may take me a little bit because I'm not the best at technology. I love crocheting, but technology is not... I don't like playing with technology very much. We'll put it that way. However, yes, I will go back and find your guys' channels. However, I'll probably subscribe on my other YouTube. because that's the one that I use to actually watch crochet things. I don't typically watch on, this is my business channel, so I don't typically watch on this channel, but I will go back and find you. If you're here and you are enjoying the content, go ahead and like and subscribe. I'm making a Valerie top from Passionate Goods, who is Passionate Kelsey on YouTube. It's a pretty nice and simple crop top. I know it's not in color, but hers, I can't remember. It has a couple different colors that it goes through as it goes up. I'm not doing the colors like she is because I'm using Karen Cotton Cakes, which does color transitions itself, so that I don't have to think about that and I don't have to tie in new yarn. Yes, me too. She's such a nice person, and I love to watch her. I watch a ton of crochet stuff, like the Crafty Mompreneur and Kayla G. Although I cannot remember what Kayla G's business name is, but on YouTube it's Kayla G. And then, what else? I watch Heather of Cottontail Crafts and Stacy Makes. Oh, and then I watch like Crochet in the Mud. Actually, I don't. I know about him, but I haven't actually watched him. Have you watched Sphinx Crochet? She's another one that I like to watch. I like, it's interesting to watch people come up with their own patterns. I can do that for clothing. I cannot do that right now for plushies. Yeah. I've heard that. Oh dear. Crochet Vision is someone that I like to watch, and she has talked about Juan the Yarn Addict, because they live in the same area. I like Crochet in the Mud. I like Crafty Kate. And kind of what the draw for me is with those two ladies is that realistically, they're probably the closest crochet YouTubers to me in location. Yeah. Because I'm in southeastern Wyoming, and Crafty Kate is in southwestern Wyoming, and then Crochet in the Mud is down in Denver. So they, you know, when they do markets and stuff, it's more appropriate to where I'm at, like price-wise and size-wise and stuff. Although I like watching other people doing markets and market prepping. Oh, cool. Yeah. That's awesome, because then you don't have to deal with all the craziness that's going on where I live. I don't know. We'll see how things turn out. I don't think that what's going on right now is good for the people of the United States, let alone for, I don't think it's helpful for a lot of countries, but maybe that's making the world stronger and us weaker. I don't know. Whoops. And I've thought about turning this top, the top of this, the one that I'm working on right now, turning the top of it into like a heart shape. So then instead of having an inverted triangle, it would be a heart. I have not done that yet because this is basically the first time I've worked this up. But that's something that I've thought about. I've had this pattern for way over 6 months. And I'm just now working it up. However, I do work up a lot of plushies. Yeah, living here in the United States, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, I think that we got ourselves into a pretty big problem. And, you know, frankly, I wish Canada would invade us. No offense to you, but you guys probably don't want us with all of our craziness. But yeah, I wish you guys could take us over, to be honest. Because we have, not that Canada probably doesn't have its problems, but they're different from what we've got, for darn sure. But that's just me yammering. I mean, my state, like the bulk of, you know, how my state makes money is we export to Canada. And that stuff has dramatically dropped off. So there's a lot of Western states right now that are in trouble. And not all of us that live in the Western United States, in these Western, you know, red states, voted for the president. But he's who we got. And we just have to try and survive it. Let's put it that way. So back to crocheting. Sorry, I got political. I don't know if you guys have seen Glamour Chicks, but my mother is making Glamour Chicks, and she's doing such a good job. Yeah. She's making quite a few of them. And so we're going to sell her Glamour Chicks, which makes me excited because then I don't have to make chickens. I know that they're popular, but it's just not something that I have the drive to make. And I've decided, you know, I'm going to make the crochet plushies that I like and that I want to. And if they sell, they sell. If they don't, they'll eventually sell. And, you know, we have space to keep my plushies right now, so it's not that big of a deal. which is nice because that means I can make as much as I want and put them in my boxes. And then when I'm ready to sell, tag them and put them out. And I am getting help with my website because it is something that I'm struggling with. And so there will be more product and items on my website after Saturday. Because like I said, I'm not that technologically advanced right now. In fact, it's one of my least favorite parts of embarking on this journey. And it's a necessity. But I would much rather get on to YouTube on a live and talk to you guys than go in and work on the website. Which is why I have someone coming to help me with that, which will be awesome. I've been crocheting since I was about 5 years old. My great-grandmother taught me before I went into kindergarten. And so I've been crocheting for basically 38 years. But I've only recently really, how do I say this? I used to crochet all the time, and then I got sick with some autoimmune stuff, and so I backed away from it, and I started knitting during the pandemic, and just recently have gotten, I don't want to say sucked back into, but I've gotten back into crochet big time. And mainly it's because crochet, you get a great dopamine hit very quickly because you can make stuff so quickly, which is something that I really enjoy. What else? I had an appointment down in FOCO, which is Fort Collins today, or not today, yesterday, and I lost my hook. And normally I don't really have a specific hook that I really like. However, since I've been doing plushies, I have found that I really enjoy this style of hook. And so Mom was very kind and went and got me a duplicate. I use the knife grip rather than the pen grip. I can do the pen grip, but it's not as comfortable for me. I'm definitely a knife gripper. But yeah. And, you know, my great-grandmothers on my mother's side, both of them crocheted and knit. My great-grandmother on, no, my grandmother on my dad's side sewed. And I think she crocheted as well. In fact, I know she did. Yeah. And so I have inherited quite a few hooks that are older. I even have some that are bent from my great-grandmother making her doilies. She did the pen grip, but when I was little, I really struggled with trying to figure that out, which is why I gravitated, I think, to the knife hold. But either way, you know, I'm one of those people that whatever works for you is the best. Like, go for it. You know, however you feel comfortable holding your yarn or your hook or both, like, go for it. I don't think that saying that there's one right way to do it is correct, because I have seen people that hold their yarn in the same hand that they hold their hook, and I'm not that I don't have that much dexterity in my hands. Although I think that being able to do that makes them a little bit faster. At least that's what it seems like. But I also think it kind of depends on what craft you learned first. If you learn crochet first, it seems like, although not always, it seems like those of us that learned crochet before knitting, that especially in modern, more recent times, we're more comfortable holding our yarn in the left hand. But if you learned how to knit first, then it seems like oftentimes you're more comfortable holding your yarn in the right hand. And when I'm knitting, I can do both. It's just when I'm crocheting, that's too much. That's just too much thought process for me. So I'm just going to keep going and probably yammering on until I finish, well, until I at least finish the crop top itself, because I'm thinking about changing to a different color to do the straps. I haven't decided. So I'll kind of have to wait until I get there to figure out exactly what I want to do. Oftentimes I have an idea in my head, but I don't always have it 100% planned out. Now I am making this piece for myself, not for someone else. So I am actually going to turn it into a tank top rather than use it as a crop top. So I'm going to lengthen it and add some other stuff to it. But that's, I don't know, that's the plan. I'm thinking about getting a different background and putting a different background up, although I absolutely love my purple flowers. I'm thinking it might be time to do a different background, do a change. But I'm not sure what I would like it to be, because I do like a lot of color. And of course, purple is my favorite color. So I'll have to see what I come up with. So there's the middle mesh, and we're decreasing on both sides. It's not as clean as it will be, because you go, after you finish it, you outline it in single crochet, which will make it, oops, that's not what I wanted. It'll make it look much cleaner. I can hear Mom listening to DOS out, either DOS Farms or DOS Outdoors. They actually have several calves, but two of them are white with a little bit of brown on them, and they look very, very similar. Of course, both of them have the same dad, just different moms, and but they look very, very similar. And the younger one is basically as big as the older one, but the older one was rejected by his mom and was born in a deep... Ah, it was nice to meet you too. Thank you. Yes. Anywho's, so he became a bottle baby, and, you know, he went through some sickness. He's doing a lot better now, but he's tiny, and he's not pushy. Some of the male calves can be pushy, especially around food, and he's just not. And, you know, he still thinks that his human mommy is his mommy. So they're working with him on, you know, eating like a normal calf. And he's in a pen with a bunch of female calves to help him learn how to be a cow, because he doesn't know how to cow because his mommy is human. And he lived with pigs for the first like 4 months of his life. So he really doesn't know how to cow. So he's learning, but it sounds like they may have had another calf. We'll see. I don't know yet. I haven't actually watched the episode, but I really enjoy them because they put out videos every day. And that's really something that I enjoy watching and listening to. And if I could figure out how to make an entertaining, you know, crochet vlog every day, I'd totally do that. Because, you know, even though I don't farm a ranch, I really enjoy watching what Chad and Ray do and their animals, you know, and the changes on the property and stuff. They live in Oklahoma, so they're ahead of us by quite a bit. We still haven't really greened up yet here in southeastern Wyoming. But then again, we haven't gotten a great amount of moisture. And you need moisture for everything to green up. So if you haven't hit the like button, but you're still here, please hit the like button. And if you like crochet content, please subscribe. I'm on my way to 100 subscribers. So I am, you know, just a tiny little channel. And like I've said a couple of times, so hopefully I'm not boring you. I do lives on Thursdays and on Saturdays, and then I also have a video that goes out on Wednesdays. My latest video was about my weekly Manx. And I'm going to put out 2 videos this coming week. What else? I think that's about it for right now. On that front anyways. Okay. I'm just working my way through this particular part of it. Hi, how are you doing? If you're new or you didn't hear earlier, I'm doing a Valerie top. The pattern is by Passionate Goods, which is Passionate Kelsey on YouTube. I believe this is one of the first patterns that she created and put out there. And like I said, I really like the Karen Cotton Cakes variegated because it does its own color changes for me. Now I'm not doing the color control method, so it is changing when it wants to. Some people will do the color control and make sure that it changes at the end, and that's awesome. But for me, that defeats the purpose of using this type of yarn, because it does the color changes for you, so you don't have to, cut your yarn and add a new one on. Which, I do that method sometimes, but typically I like using variegated yarns, so I don't have to do that. Oh, cool. Yeah. Soap sacks. I've made a few of those. In fact, I think I used the pattern, well, the video tutorial from Bag a Day Crochet, Crystal. I used to watch her an awful lot, but I've kind of gotten away from that a little bit. I'm definitely someone that can be really influenced on, purchasing yarn. And she does a lot of like yarn hauls and whatnot. So for me, it's just better if I don't watch those. Because then I'm always like, ooh, I want that. Oh, isn't that cool? That's a new yarn, or that's a new color, or I haven't seen that before. And then it's like, oh, I have to go check that out, and I want to get it. And yeah, I need to use up yarn that I have already purchased, which is what I'm doing. And I'm getting through quite a bit of it. I have started adding in some of the yarn that I just more recently purchased. But I still have quite a bit of yarn that I need to work through. And I'm practicing in my embroidery skills because I'm not a sewist. And so that's where my crochet is lacking, is embroidery and sewing. And so that's what I've been practicing more recently, because that's what I need to really beef up. Sorry, I just was checking my pattern real quick, making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to, which, like I said, it's a very simple pattern. I just wanted to make sure I was where I needed to be. The nice thing about Passionate Kelsey's patterns is that she gives you different sizes, and the actual pattern for each size does change. And because of that, it makes it easier to change the sizing. Yeah. Hi. How are you doing? Yeah, I have to be careful. I really have to use up the yarn that I have because I still have quite a bit. When my cousin's daughter comes up, she goes shopping in our yarn basement. That's how much yarn I have, or that Mom and I have. So yeah, it's just one of those things that I started collecting yarn for no darn good reason several years ago, and so now it's like I've got so much I have to use it. I may not be able to use it all before I pass, but by goodness, I'm going to give it the old college try. Grandma used to want us to get rid of our yarn, and that was a big bone of contention between Grandma and I because I was using my yarn, not like I am now, but I was working through some, and she always wanted me to get rid of my yarn, and I just, nope. And then she didn't want me living in her house, but she had to put up with me because she wanted Mom living in her house, and Mom and I are a package deal. But I think it was because she knew that I would not put up with some of her behaviors. And it's not that I didn't love her, it was that she was being manipulative. And we didn't need that. Those were behaviors that she'd had her entire life, so that was not going to change. And I knew that, but I needed her to understand that she could not run Mom into the ground. And life has gotten way, way simpler in some ways since Grandma passed. And, you know, she's where she wants to be. She's with her son and with her husband and her brothers and her sister and her cousins and her parents. And, you know, I can just imagine her up there playing cards and dice and teasing. And I really think that she is now a much happier camper. And we're waiting on the bench that was supposed to be installed the following year after she passed, and it still has not been installed. So we're waiting on that to be installed so that we can go up and see it. And, you know, once it's installed, we'll finish paying for it, but we're not gonna, we pay, the deal was you had to pay half up front and then half, and then the other half once it was in the ground, and it's still not in the ground. So we'll see. Mom was able to track down the person that has it, and they're trying to get it into the ground. I don't know what why it's not, but yes. Yes. I used to buy in bulk on the clearance section of a lot of the websites, like Yarn Inspirations and Hobby or Hobie, however you say that. And I'd go to Michael's and buy stuff on clearance. And so there was a lot to it, but that's okay. Because now we've ramped up our usage, especially in the last year. And, you know, I didn't feel guilty about having my stash, but I felt like I would never get through it before I passed. And now, with Mom's help and my cousin's help, I think we will make it through it. because we're going to really give it the old college try. I've gone through basically a closet, a little bit more than a closet of yarn that was downstairs. Plus, I've gone through a couple of boxes, big boxes of yarn. I still have quite a few more to go through and work through, but I'll get there. Okay. Just counting to make sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be. But like I said, this is, a quick make. Where are we at? We're not even at an hour and a half, and I'm way more than halfway done. So let's see here. If you're out there and you're a crocheter, I do recommend doing your stretches and exercises, especially for your hands and your wrists and your elbows and shoulders, so that you'll be able to continue doing what you love for longer. I don't always just sit here and crochet for long periods of time. Sometimes I do, but I don't always do that because you got to take your breaks and give your body what it wants and what it needs, which reminds me, if you've not taken your meds today, take your meds, drink your water, and if you have not eaten, please eat. You got to take care of yourself. So this is kind of the bleeding or the spotting that sometimes you get with a variegated yarn. And I don't mind it. I think it gives it visual interest. However, some people, it really bothers them, so they need to cut it out. And I understand. But that's part of the reason for me why I get a yarn like this is the color is already built in and I don't have to do a whole lot to it. This particular one, to just make the crop top part of it is probably going to take, well, I know it'll take less than 2 hours. To do the rest of it that I'm going to add on to it is going to be quite a lot. It'll probably take me a couple of days. So I would say that it's probably going to take me about 3 or 4, so probably 12 hours. But that's because of how large I'm going to make it. I'm about a 3X, maybe a titch wider, and then I have to make it long enough to cover mini me, which is my ostomy. So it's going to be quite large. If I was just making the crop top, I would be done in under 2 hours. I hope that answers your question. What else? I really like making my own clothing because I can modify it to cover what I want it to cover and do what I want it to do. Whereas when I'm purchasing stuff like off the rack, it's harder to get clothing to fit the way that I want it to fit, when I want it to fit, how I want it to fit. I mean, mainly because of all the surgeries that I've had and mini-me, because I don't care if mini-me is sticking out, but other people care. And so instead of grossing people out, I would rather just have a way to cover him up so that I'm not grossing people out. I've had mini-me since 2016 because that's when they took my colon out, which that was a ride and a half, and it still is. But the thing is I'm alive, and I wouldn't be if I didn't have my ostomy. So there's always a trade-off. And, you know, I'm happy that I got mini-me. He still gives me problems, but to me, that's better than being dead. This particular pattern is by Passionate Goods on Etsy, and I believe she has her own shop. But on YouTube, her name is Passionate Kelsey. And this is, I believe, one of her earlier patterns that she created. I'm kind of excited to see if she comes up with anything else pattern related for like tops, because typically I don't really follow patterns. Mainly because I just kind of think it up in my head and do it. But I do like her patterns. Okay, so technically this is the end of the crop top pattern. However, I am going to, I mean, I haven't done the strings, and I haven't gone all the way around. So this, it's not a string. Anyways, this part of the pattern I have not done yet because I'm going to attach it differently than she does. But I am going to outline it real quick. And then that's the end of the actual pattern. So here we go. She's done this pattern. Let me see if I can do this without showing stuff off. See, she's done it in different sizes, in different colorways. It's just a really nice, like I said, a really nice pattern. So what I'm going to do is go all the way around and put the border on, and then that'll be the end of the live. because then I'll have to switch hooks and do some other stuff. So I am going to border this particular piece real quick. I'm just going to do single crochets all the way around. Okay. Okay. Now, when I get down to the corners, I am going to actually put in extra stitches to round out those corners. Well, not round out, to keep them a corner. Otherwise, they round out, becoming pretty, it changes the shape of the overall pattern, let's put it that way. I tend to use 3 crochets to make my corner. Doesn't want to. There it goes. That way it still has a corner shape to it. You could do 3, you could do 5. I would stick with an odd number, because then if you put on another round of border stitches, it you have a place to put in that the odd amount of stitches again to keep your corner a corner. Otherwise, your corners will round up and kind of lift up and make it hard to fold or keep flat, especially if you're working on something like a blanket. So I am pretty sure that if I had not been yabber-yabbering and showing you guys the pictures and stuff throughout the live, that I'd already be done with the crop top, because I know I can do it in under 2 hours, but I think I could do it in under an hour and a half. But this is a summertime piece or a layering piece. It's not something that I would typically wear in the wintertime unless I'm wearing it underneath something else. Okay. Okay, let me get in here. So I'm going to do my next corner real quick. I think at the top, I'm probably later on going to go back in and add in some fans to give me a scalloped border. Maybe, we'll see. I've got two more cakes of this particular colorway of Karen cotton cakes, which I don't even remember what it's called, so I'm going to look it up here. Oh, it's hydrangea. Don't know if you can see that. And, you know, I still have quite a bit left on it. I do want to just call out some of my long-term supporters, Zan and Virginia, Susan, Mary Jane. Y'all have been awesome in supporting me and supporting my channel. So thank you, thank you, thank you. What else? As we're getting towards the end of this live, I like to, at the end of my videos, at the end of my lives, I do like to do a reminder for everybody, kind of like a PSA. Mental health is very, very important to me and my family. And this is not like an ad for better health or anything like this. But if you need help, please reach out. I would like you to remember that you are wanted, you're needed, and you are loved. Please be kind to everyone, including yourself. Hello. Because this world is hard enough on all of us that we don't need to drag ourselves down, let alone drag anybody else down. So, like I said, just be kind and take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones. And that looks different for everyone. So I'm not saying you have to do the same routine that I or someone else does. But you have to find what works for you. What else? That's kind of my normal spiel. And I say that because I myself have dealt with a lot of major mental health issues my entire life. And I have several family members that have had major mental health issues, as well as having a family member that passed away because of mental health issues. So it's important to us, and I'd like it to be important to you, and I'd like you to take care of yourself. Because if nothing else, you're important to me. As long as you know that you're important to at least one person, that helps you not be quite so lonely. It helps you not be, maybe not quite be so hard on yourself. So you are important to me. We are all here just trying to make it out. In a way, we're all trying to make it out alive, but we're not going to make it out alive. That's part of the craziness of life, is you can't take it with you. You're not going to get out of this life alive. So be kind to yourself and you know, just live the best life that you can for yourself. Thank you. So I'm on the last part of the border. If you're still here with me and you like crochet content, please like and subscribe. I'm on my way to 100 subscribers. I am a teeny tiny channel, and that's okay. Just working on growing and meeting new people. And just having fun. Crochet to me is fun. Yes, it's part of my business, but it's fun. It helps me lower my anxiety. You're very welcome. And it's just something that I really enjoy. I get a lot of dopamine from. Plus, it's a skill that I can use to make things for myself or for others, which is something that I really enjoy. I used to be a massive blanket maker, but I'm not right now. But I'm sure when winter time rolls back around, I'll start making blankets again. Let's see here. Slip stitch. Okay. So that's what this ended up looking like. For me, this is actually going to be a tank top, not a crop top. And for me, the difference is in the straps, and then also in the length, and what you're covering. I wouldn't wear anything that's this short because it wouldn't cover mini me. And that would probably gross people out, which I don't want to do. So that is the end of this live. I go live on Thursdays and Saturdays. And then I also put out a video on Wednesdays. And this coming Thursday, you're going to get a bonus video. So thank you so much for watching and liking and subscribing and being here. I really hope you have a great day and a great rest of your week. And I hope to see you Saturday. Bye. Let's see here.